What's up, guys? Welcome to the Crypto Savvy channel. I'm Craig, and as usual, we're going to be going over the charts. We're going to take a look at our Bitcoin chart from yesterday, look at those areas I said to watch, see where we're at. We're still in that same area, still looking for our targets. Also, we're going to be taking a look at Apple at the end of the video. I started a new thing where you guys leave in the comment section down below what stock or crypto you would like me to go over, or index or whatever. The most comments I get on each one, that'll be in tomorrow's video. So today it's going to be Apple. We'll be taking a look at that at the end of the video. Let's get into it. Let's see what's going on. Don't forget, guys, make sure you smash those thumbs up. Make sure you share the video if you would. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Where are you at in this market? We're going to take a look at both the bearish and the bullish case scenario. As you guys know, I'm still leaning towards a major bearish case scenario, so we'll be checking it out. Let's take a look at what's going on. So as of right now, we're still in this falling channel on the Dow Jones. Now if we come back up to retest the top of this, would be around 31.1. there is a rising channel here. We have a measured move of around 27,000 points. If we do break out of the bottom of this right now, the bottom of this area for the Dow is around 28,318, somewhere in that range. But remember, we could always bounce back up here, just like we did in these prior times over here, right? If we do bounce back up there, we're going to get some major hidden bearish divergence on the RSI if we get up to this level. Not saying we have to get up to that level, but either way, in the big picture, in the macro, we are still bearish unless we get above this 31.1. So I still look for much more downside unless we break this 31.1 in Dow. I'll take a look at where that's at on the DXY too in a minute. But if we were to come up here and our RSI gets back up into this range, we'll make a higher high in the RSI, being a lower high in the price action from this peak here. That will be hidden bearish divergence. Hidden divergence is a continuation of the trend. This is on the daily chart. Let's take a look at what's going on with the DXY. So the DXY, as you guys know, I said this was our main support here at 109. If we draw a trend line from this wick, and this wick, every time, let me zoom in and show you, every time we hit that, we get a major bounce off this trend line. You can see here. Will that happen here? If so, it may be today or tomorrow if we get down to this 109, but we're going to have support here at 110.32, right in that range for the dollars. So we could bounce here at the 110 range, but I think it is likely that we could possibly get down to this 109. And if we break down here, then that may go on with the bullish case for Bitcoin. We'll take a look at those here in a second, but let's go out to the bigger time frames on the dollar first. So we also have this trend line on the dollar that we get a break off of each time. That one's as low as 107. So if that 109 breaks, look for somewhere down in the 107. I don't think that's likely, but it is a possibility. Also, the 55 EMA is right here around that 109 also. So that's where I'd be looking for a big bounce if we do hit this area. As you can see, if we drew that same line in here on the daily right here, every time we hit that, we get a major bounce, right? So if we hit that again, I do expect we get a major bounce. As you guys know, I still have the higher target on my daily at 122. And if we look at the weekly, I have a much, much higher target if that 122 is broken. And that's the measured move, this falling wedge right here. As you guys know, I've been bullish on the DXY for 2 years. And as you can see, it's playing out. Everybody's saying the dollar is going to die. That may happen possibly in the future, but not anytime soon. So that target is around 178 to 180. But that isn't going to happen in a day. Obviously, it's going to take time. You can see what happened back here in the 80s. We're pretty much doing the same thing. I do think we'll get a rally up into this area within the next year or two. Could possibly take longer if this bear market is drawn out for traditionals and everything else. So if you guys are interested in trading before we get into Bitcoin, definitely check out Prime XBT. I have a link down below. They do help support the channel. Definitely check them out if you haven't already. You can use my promo code SAVVY50. That'll get up to $7,000 bonus to use towards your margin. SAVVY25 will get you 25% off your fees. You can trade crypto, indices, Forex, commodities, so gold, silver, oil, S&P, Dow Jones, pre-markets, everything, all from one exchange. definitely a great exchange. They don't trade against you like the scammy exchanges. You don't get all the scam wicks and all that stuff. So definitely check them out if you haven't. Looking at Bitcoin on the weekly, as you guys know, my targets for the end of this year are right here. We could get down to this under 4,000 range. If we do that by the end of the year, then I think that will be the bottom. But as you guys know, I have a false bottom theory that I think we'll see 75 to 80 and then bounce into next year, getting everyone bullish again, only to make a lower low next year in the middle or end of 2023. I know a lot of people are really stuck on the 4-year cycle, guys, but this is a macro view. I do believe the 4-year cycle theory is going to get squashed. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, get in and ride it up to 150,000 or whatever you think it may get to. I'm not saying it won't get there, but I'm going to say I think it's going to be a lot longer, possibly, 8 to 10 years before we break the all-time high. That's my opinion. Doesn't have to be yours. Let's take a look at these targets here. So we have this measured move from when we broke over here. If you guys were watching the channel, we called this 25.5. We hit it, and then we made another bear flag. We called this 17.6. You can go back and check the videos. We called both these targets exact. And my next targets from this falling wedge that we broke down from is around 14.5. 14.5 to 15.5, I do think we will see at some point in the near future. And then if we take a measured move just like we did back here, that gets us that 8,500. So 75 to 8,500. If we hit that around the November time and get our bounce to maybe 14 or 15,000, everybody is going to be screaming the 4-year cycle's back. That could be a good time to get in and at least ride that little pump if that happens. But remember, we could go as low as this break here from this trend line, looking at this as a flagpole, this as the bear flag. Gets us down to around that 38.50. So let's get into the daily. So as you guys know, on the daily, we've been watching this for a long time, the falling wedge. Usually in a falling wedge, you have 5 waves, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If that happens and we get this plays out by the end of the year to get all the way down to these lows at the end of this month, maybe November, if that was to happen, then I think the bottom would be in this year and maybe the 4-year cycle becomes true. Otherwise, I'm looking for that 75 to 85 and then up. Now let's look at our descending triangle here. We'll also take a look at this in the 4-hour, but you look at this descending triangle, we still could possibly come up and tag the top of this again. We're going to move this up just a little bit. If it happens today or tomorrow, it could be 20,900-ish. The longer it takes, the lower that goes. Now, if we do break this, then you can start looking at the bullish case scenario. And the bullish case scenario would be around this 36,000. That's the bullish case. If we break this, say we break 2,100, then we're going to have resistance at 26.7-ish. That would be breaking out of this descending triangle here. Let's take a look at it on the 4-hour. Zoom in a little bit. And if you guys watched yesterday's video, I had put these targets on there. We've actually had these targets for quite a while. But I had told you you can see we had a rising channel here with let me get the RSIs off there so you can see this, or I'm sorry, the EMAs, so you can see this a little more clearly, right? So we were looking at this rising channel, which we broke here. I told you to watch for the 19,680, 1970, get it for a rejection. If we get support on that, then I told you look for 20,163 range, which was just where the trend line was at the time. As of right now, we are sitting on this trend line. If we get support on here, our next stop is going to be as high as the 20,850 range. Again, that's the top of that triangle. We had the target down here, but depending on how long it takes. So if we get up there today, we'd be looking for around 20,800, 20,900. Remember, if that breaks and we start opening and closing a daily above that and get support, then we could look at that bullish case scenario. But otherwise, guys, I don't see the volume here, right? We had a bunch of volume here. We're getting less and less volume on these pumps. So I think we're most likely going to turn around here and continue back down. Now, remember, The bullish case is only if we pass this 20,800 and get support up there. The bearish case, we come back down to these levels at 18.2. Let's take a look at this. So the bottom of this channel now would sit around 18.9. So a break of the 18.9, look for the 18.2. Once that 18.2 breaks, I think it'll be a great place for a short position. That's if you want to play it safe and wait for the breakout, right? If that happens, we got a target of, and we can move that up a little bit now, around the 17.2, somewhere in that range, which would be breaking the old low. But remember, our old low is at 17.5. I do think if we come down to test this again, it's going to fail. And then we can look for that 14 to 15,000, right? That's where I'm at. So if we do get that rally up, it could come back up and retest this trend line on the RSI, which would get us that 20,900, 20,800 range. So unless we break above 21,000, 20,800, 20,900 and hold above that, the bearish case is still in play. If that changes, I will throw out some tweets. You can follow me on Twitter. But as of right now, really, guys, what's changed here? Absolutely nothing. We'll be keeping a close eye on this. And this is my Amazon to Bitcoin comparison chart before we get into Apple. As you can see, nothing's changed here. This still looks identical. This is a macro view, guys. And this is why I said we could see the false bottom sometime. If we get straight down this year, I think we could hit the bottom, right? But I think the false bottom could be all the way into February. If it matches up with the timeline on this Amazon chart, which it has so far. So far, this chart is valid until invalidated. What would invalidate this chart? A break of this 55 EMA, which is around 30,000. So, okay, let's say, I know a lot of people are getting extremely bullish on every little pump. We've talked about that. You'll get a pump, then you'll get everyone will be happy, thinking Bitcoin's going to 100,000, and then you get a lower low, a dump. Everyone's bummed out, wish they would have sold up here. Then we get this pump, then everybody just holds, and it psychologically makes people hold all the way down. That's how bubble pop patterns work, because they get so far down and like it has to go up. So I can't sell now. It's going to pop up, and that's what keeps people in for liquidity to keep this coming all the way down. So be aware of that. Also, let me go back over to the weekly here. Where is it? Right here. You can see where we're getting rejected right at the 8 EMA on the weekly. And that is currently sitting at 2,300 or 20,350. Just to put that out there, right? So if this was to play out like this, look for the false bottom, 75 to 8,500. Would be a good place to get in, because then you usually get a rally. Another way you'll be able to see that is right here. Once that broke, you see the false bottom here, it broke out of the weekly RSI trend line. If that happens over here, that's where everyone will get super bullish. We could say, long, if it breaks that weekly trend line right here on the RSI, like it did here, maybe 100% rally. We'll be keeping up on it if it does happen, but say it breaks up out of here, then we would look for the false bottom being in, get in there, and then, get out, take some profits on the way up, only to come back down and take a lower low. And if it plays out in the same time frame, this is the weekly here. If it plays out in the same time frame, that would be the middle or end of next year when it actually bottoms. Which would obviously nullify the 4-year cycle theory. What happens in a macro chart? This is the same Amazon chart, and we're somewhere in this area if it plays out the same. You have plenty of time to buy the bottom, guys. This was January 01 to October 2nd. So a year and a half it played around on this. It's going to seem very boring if we get to these levels, but you can see how long it took to make a new all-time high. So if this was to happen, this was so a year from then. So if we do get something like this, then people will be screaming the 4-year cycle bottoms in, only to come down again. But if you do get in down here, then pretty good. If Bitcoin does actually go to new all-time highs, right? There's no guarantees in any market, but this took 10 years to break the all-time high. And so far, the timeline on this is playing out identically. All right, let's take a look at Apple. So Apple looks like a broadening wedge here, falling broadening wedge. I threw some fibs on here, looking at this as a possible wave 1, wave 2, and then we are making wave 3, or this could be an ABC correction. These are the levels I'm looking for Apple, right? 122, look for a bounce there. That would be the 1-to-1 extension. If it does get a nice healthy bounce there without going below, this will be a good place to put in a long and then put your stops just below. Because if this does break, then your next level is going to be 107, which is the 1.27 fib, which let me show you how that could act out. So if it was an ABC, it could be this be a A, this be a B, and then this could be a C, the 1-to-1 extension, and then up from there. It could go as low as the 1.27 fib, which would be around 107, 108 area. Get a bounce there. So if it does break this, then this would be the place you look for long, looking at this as ABC. But if this 107 breaks, 88 is your next target. And that would mean that there's probably even further to go. Now, if it came down to test this trend line, that would be sometime in the beginning of next year. Get a rally, which would line up with a false bottom theory for Bitcoin, maybe back up into these ranges before continuing down for the 5th wave, right? So if it's an ABC, it can't go any lower than 107. If this is a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that would be, this is wave 1, wave 2, wave 3 would get us all the way down to 1.618, and maybe get another rally up to this range before a lower low. I know a lot of people think that's impossible, but guys, go back, check out the .com bubble, check out the crashes in the stock markets. Nobody ever believes they go that low. That's how they create exit liquidity. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what chart you want me to go over in the end of tomorrow's video. And another way you can do it is if you belong to a community and you guys want to see your coin, make a comment down below and I will, and then, you know, if that one gets a bunch of replies under it, I'll pick that one. Otherwise, it's whichever one's mentioned the most. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget, guys, smash those thumbs up. Leave your comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.